If you want your vocals to sound upfront and present in the mix, then you need to be using compression. And I know compression can seem confusing, so today I want to show you an easy approach to vocal compression that the pros use that you can do inside GarageBand completely free. Welcome back to the Band Guide, where we use GarageBand to create professional sounding music. I'm your band guy, Colin, and today we're going through an easy approach to vocal compression that the pros use that you can set up in literally seconds. It's amazing. It's become my go-to over the years. Now, this is actually the fourth video in my pro vocal mixing series where I'm walking through everything you need to know to create a professional vocal sound in GarageBand for free. But beyond just these videos, I also put together a completely free checklist that you can download that you can reference anytime you're mixing vocals in the future. There's a link in the description below where you can pick it up, again, completely free, so that you don't miss any of these steps. And it walks through all the key areas that you need to know anytime you're looking back at it. So be sure to pick that up, again, from the link in the description below, completely free. But let's go and jump into GarageBand and set up some pro vocal compression. Okay, so the key to incredibly easy vocal compression is an 1176 style compressor. Analog hardware versions of this thing go for thousands of dollars, but this plugin by Analog Obsession does the trick really, really well and is completely free. So really quickly, let me show you the website where you can go to get this. I'll link to it in the description below as well. Now, this is a Patreon page, and if you're familiar with Patreon, Patreon is a platform that allows you to support the creative person that's doing an endeavor. So in this case, it's a plugin developer who makes these really awesome plugins, and you can pledge to support him monthly, but you can also get them for free. And he set it up this way intentionally. So don't shy away from downloading it under the download link here for completely free. You see I'm not logged in, so anyone can go and grab this completely free. Set it up this way intentionally. And if you like it and you have the means, maybe try out a couple of his other plugins, then maybe support him. I'm a big advocate for supporting people for good work. This guy does incredible quality work. This is a really great plugin that can give you that pro vocal sound for free. So get it, try it out, see if it works for you. And if it does and you dig it and you have the means, then definitely consider supporting him. So one other thing to note, if you've never added a third-party plugin to GarageBand, is that under your preferences, you'll need to go under Audio MIDI and make sure that Enable Audio Units is on. That's just going to tell GarageBand to look for third-party plugins. And if you're still not seeing it, then you might need to quit and reload GarageBand or even restart your computer. But after that, it should show up. It's just going to be under Audio Units here at the very bottom, under Analog Obsession, and then it will be Fetish. That's what we're going to use here. So I'm going to go and flip this off since I've already added one on here. And we're going to start going through this and explaining how you can set this up in seconds and start dialing in really professional sounding compression. Now, functionally, compression is going to reduce the volume range of the vocals so that it's never too loud, never too quiet. You'll never have a word that jumps out and hurts you because it's too loud, and never have another word that just gets completely lost because it's way too quiet. It's going to reduce the dynamic range. And it does that because it's functionally just an automatic volume fader. Anytime a sound gets too loud, the compressor is automatically going to turn it down. And anything that is too quiet will benefit by the makeup gain that you dial in. This will make sense as we get into this, but just imagine one of these volume faders just automatically turning up on quieter words and down on louder words. That's what we're going to get here with this compression. Now, how much it turns down by is determined by the ratio. Here, we're not going to go too in depth with it. All you need to know is keep it to 4:1 on this vocal. Occasionally, you could go a little bit higher on a harder rock song or something, but 4:1 is a pretty good ratio for vocals. How quickly it's going to turn the volume down after it gets too loud is determined by the attack time. Now, an 1176 style compressor like this one is a really, really fast compressor. So the slowest setting on an 1176 is still faster than the fastest setting on most compressors. But it's actually kind of the perfect setting for vocals because while it says it's slow, it's still really, really fast. So it's going to contain those words quickly. It's going to quickly turn down if it gets too loud. But it will let that very initial hit through that makes you realize that there's a vocal right in front of you. And so that's the important key here, is to let that initial part through so that the listener can hear them. If you get too fast on this, if you start being way over here, then that vocal is going to start feeling a little bit further away. It's not going to feel super upfront. So if you want a really upfront vocal sound, setting this to slow is the key. And then you also want to set the release, which is just how quickly the volume is going to return after being turned down on the compressor to its original volume. So we want to set this back to as fast as it can go, which is about 50 milliseconds on this compressor. So if you're working with another compressor, you just need to set this to as fast probably as your compressor can go. Around a millisecond is a good place. But on this compressor, we're just going as slow as this one can go and as fast as the release can go. Now all we have to do is just dial up our input until we're seeing compression over here on our meter. We can see that we have 1, 2, 3, 4. This is volume decibels. And so we're just going to be looking to make sure that it's turning down on the louder words and not turning the quieter words down. So let's just play a little bit of this song and try to get this dialed in. We're going to dial it in with the input here, and then we're going to use the output here to make up any volume that's lost. So when it turns down on louder words, we want to make sure that we turn this back up so we're not losing all that volume. And then last but not least, just ignore this all over here. This is super advanced and isn't necessarily relevant for this video. Okay, let's get into it. So we're just going to keep dialing this input up until we start to see compression. So the key here is not how much it's turning down by, at least not on this main compressor. It's that it's not turning down things that it doesn't need to be. So let's go back to this earlier part that's a little bit quieter. There's a really brief moment there. He says, I'm drowning in debt. And on that drowning in, it doesn't compress at all. That's what we're looking for. Is there any word that doesn't get compressed at all? That's the key to knowing that you're setting this right. But then it quickly turns down anything that is louder. So then when we start to bring in our makeup gain, this is just turning up the output volume of this compressor, then that quieter word gets brought up a little bit in volume, so they're closer in total volume. The louder word gets turned down, the quieter word gets turned up with this output gain. So check this out. Right now we're seeing about maybe 4 to 5 decibels of gain reduction. So let's start around 3 to 4 decibels of made up gain here, output gain. So check out that. Turn this off. How much more upfront and present does that feel now? So I feel really good. This is already compressing it. It's turning down things that are too loud and not turning down things that aren't too loud. And then the quieter parts get brought up a little bit in volume with this output volume. And it all gets closer together in total volume, right? And that's the key to compression. That's how you make your vocal feel right up front to you. No word is ever lost. No word is ever too loud. But we're not losing the impact of the vocals. So one more time, let me just play a little bit of this for you, turning it off and on. This is on, off. It's subtle, but it makes it feel more present. Now, this is a very dynamic vocal, meaning that it's really all over the place. Some parts are really quiet, some parts are really loud. So something we might want to do is add a second compressor that's only turning down the really loud parts just a little bit before this compressor. So what I'm going to do is just move this compressor down. I'm going to hold Option on the keyboard, click and drag this up. That has duplicated this. So now I have 2 versions of this exact same plugin here. And what I want to do here is bring my input down and turn my output back down, but keep all of these settings. And I just want to see it turn down just a little bit on the really loud words. So let's let it play a little bit. And I'm just looking for 1 to 3 decibels of gain reduction over here when it's getting really loud. So here we are looking for just a little bit of gain reduction. That's really what I was looking for, is on that office where he hits really hard there. So that's hitting about 3 decibels of gain reduction. We'll turn up just a little bit here so we're not losing too much volume. And let's look on our original compressor here. So this is our main compressor. Now this is working a little less hard on those super loud words. So just a little bonus for you if you have a really dynamic vocal and it's starting to sound a little over compressed. If I turn this one off, listen to the way it sounds when he hits this office.
Gone Monday to the office.
It feels a little bit choked, right? It's kind of hard to tell, but we can see on here it's getting a lot of gain reduction. Whereas if I turn this on, it's just going to naturally tame that one a little bit more and make this compressor have to work a little less hard. So just to be clear, this is a bonus little for you if you have a really dynamic vocal, is to add in a second vocal for you. But the main vocal compression that I want you to try is just this one where all you're looking for is that it's turning down on the loud words and not turning down on the quiet words. And if you set that, then you're going to get a really dynamically contained vocal that's going to feel way more upfront and present in your mix. Last thing I want to say is if we listen to this section here, notice the S's jump out at us a little bit. No more seasons, only darkness. It really jumps out at us, right? That's because a compressor's turning down louder parts, turning up quieter parts. Well, S's and T's are quiet in volume, but loud in how we perceive them. So they're kind of loud to our ears. And so these compressors are actually going to be turning those up a little bit. So last week we addressed those harsh frequencies with this TDR Nova, a completely free plugin as well, that just turns down just those harsh frequencies. We see that here. And what we want to do, now that we've compressed it, if you start noticing those S's being a problem again, is hold Option, click, and drag this plugin down to after those two compressors. And that's going to turn down just a little bit more after the compressors, since the compressors are adding a little bit of volume to those quieter but harsher sounding parts of the vocal. You might need to tweak this just a little bit, but that's going to get you the best of both worlds where your vocal's really upfront and present, but it's not getting harsh. So if I turn these off here, let's just listen to a little bit of this vocal. This is off. If I add them in. It's subtle, but these vocals are way more upfront now. They're way more contained and they're way more present in the mix. And if we take a second and just listen to everything we've done on these vocals so far across this series, it's kind of crazy. Check this out. So this is everything off.
Used to have ambition and religion, and that gave me a vision. Now I'm just spinning. No more seasons, only darkness. Galileo set me off this. I'll come back on Monday to the office. Every day the universe expands, but I'm still stranded here, dressed in my face. Every day we keep racing through space, but I'm still stuck in place. So stuck in place.
That's kind of crazy. So what do you think? That's amazingly easy, right? Yet it makes a vocal sound so upfront and present in the mix. It takes only a few seconds to set up. You just kind of set it and forget it, and now that vocal is living right in the right place in your mix. Never too loud, never too quiet. Maybe you need to stack a second or third level of compression to get it totally contained, but don't shy away from that. A lot of pro mixers are doing that. If you need it, do it. Trust your ears. If you like it better with another compressor on, don't go overboard. Don't have 10 or 15 compressors on it. But if you need 2 or 3, maybe even 4 levels of compression, that might be the secret. But this approach is my go-to approach for 99% of my vocals. It's amazing how simple it is and how it just works. So don't skip it. It's so easy to do. And also, speaking of not skipping it, be sure to download my free Pro Vocal checklist from the link in the description below. It's going to walk through everything that we've covered in this video and all of the other 5 steps in this process so that you can reference back to it anytime you're mixing your vocals. Completely free from the link in the description below, so be sure to grab it. But before we go, I want to hear from you. What do you think of this approach to vocal compression? Does it make sense to you? Do you think it will work in your music? I used to be so confused by vocal compression. I could never get it right. My vocals never sat quite right in my mix. As soon as I learned this, it just made sense, and I've had so much more success with it since then. So let me know what you think in the comments below. Has this made it simpler for you? Is this easier for you to understand? And if you try it, let me know if it works for you in the comments below. Love to hear from you. And last but not least, if you like any of the music you've heard on this channel, then you should go check out my band Broke Royal's brand new single, Slam Band. We just put it out last week, but spoiler alert, you've actually already heard it because it was the intro and outro music for today's video. And if you dug it, then you're definitely going to like the full version. But if you just want to go check it out and see if you dig it, or if you just want to support me, there's a link in the description below. It would mean the world to me. And if you like it, let me know in the comments below. I'd really love to hear from you. If this video is helpful, be sure to like, comment, subscribe, and I'll see you next week with another video.